Today, we're going to hop into three predictions, what we expect to happen going into 2024 in the San Diego real estate market. There's been a lot happening over the past few years. We've been boots on the ground, seeing what's going on. We're going to let you know what we think may happen in the new year. And if you are potentially a buyer or a seller, we're going to give you some ideas on how to prepare so you can put your best foot forward and be ready to roll when the time comes. So let's get into it right now. And before we jump into it, just as a quick reminder, we're the Beach Life Group. I'm Chris Erickson. We have Mr. Loren Sanders on today, and we are real estate agents right here in San Diego. So if you're looking to make the move, you got questions as you're going through this video, you are thinking about buying or selling, and you just want some more information, feel free to hit us up. All of our information is down below. We got your back when making the move here in San Diego. So prediction number one is mortgage rates have peaked for the next year. Peaks meaning in October 19th, we did see it go up to 8.03%. And you can see in this next little chart, it's a live one, where we started the year at 6.63%. Last year, we dropped down to 5.99 for probably about a day. And we've been on this upward trajectory ever since. So peaked out right here at 8.03. Now we've seen a little decline going down. Loren, what are we seeing? What are we thinking here?
There's a couple beneficial factors for folks that are going to be getting mortgages that'll be taking place. One of them is you don't see a lot of raises from the Federal Reserve going into election year. I think we have that kind of bonus going for us. But the other big things are, we saw a historic level of not just the amount that was raised, the amount that we went up, but also in such a short period of time. So it really put a damper on the market. And if we look at the way mortgage rates have affected our real estate market this past year, is as rates really shot up, you saw the level of buyer activity slow down significantly, which is exactly what we saw last year. This time, the market was really slowing down because rates were up, and then they started coming down around this same time last year. And by the time we hit January, buyer activity was increased significantly. Then where we started at like 3% and more than doubled over that period of time. So part of this is, my thinking is, people get used to the rate. They get kind of comfortable. The water's been ratcheted up somewhat, and at certain levels they get comfortable. So if rates jump significantly high in a short period of time, we'll see the market calm down quite a bit, and vice versa. We could see the market move up if we see some big drops in mortgage rates. We haven't seen a huge drop, although in 3 weeks to drop 3/4 of a point,
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's big on your pavement. I may be out on a limb here, but I think there's so many factors coming together that they play out for rates having peaked. And so we'll just see how it plays out, but that's what I'm watching.
The second prediction is that inventory, or the number of homes out there in San Diego, will build in 2024. Historically, over these past few years, we've seen it really, really low compared to what we have seen in the past. Here's the graph of what we have seen in going back 10 years. So the far left side of the graph is 2013, and then the far right side is obviously where we are right now. Let me bring up the live one and just show you kind of back here, just to compare for where we're at right now. This top line is San Diego County. The bottom line is coastal North County. So a lot of the Encinitas and Carlsbads, Oceansides, all that kind of stuff. But right back in September of 2018, San Diego County had almost 15,000 homes on the market, active listings, where we got down to here. And January, December is always pretty low, but we had only 2,000. If we want to compare it, so let's go just August of 2018 to August of this year, where we're at. And we're sitting right around, go up one more, right over 5,000. So significant difference, almost about a third of the active listings that we've seen in past years. So Loren, what are we seeing? What are we going?
Now, some of this is my own, just watching this for years, but a part of it is there's this concept that we see in our business. If you hear people talking about that, people have golden handcuffs. They've got this 3.5% mortgage and they're like stuck and they're not going anywhere. And I think that plays out for a period of time. But I also think that people's lives play out over a period of time. And so when you have 3-year-old kids, two of them, and another one comes, then you fit into your house. But then as you got to figure out things to do as your life expands and or your life changes. So just like I think we get used to the higher interest rates, I think there's going to be, with the lower level of buyer activity over a period of time, I think we're going to see that people are going to just make moves. And I also think rates are going to come down, to get a little closer. And the other part of it is too, there's about 30% of the deals are cash. We just closed one. They weren't thinking about interest rates at all, other than my conversations with them about, well, here's what the buyers are looking at, because they were selling to buy and cash to cash. So that, it didn't really affect what they were doing. But I do think over time, there's some seller fatigue. Like there's some people that really have waited to sell 3 or 4 years, and at some point we're going to see more inventory. And as we see, kind of the same way we're seeing, and I know you're seeing this too, as there's more things for buyers to choose from, and they're almost demanding more negotiation from sellers. Like you can get offers and they come in, and it's not what the seller wants, and if you don't respond in a reasonable counter, then the buyer just leaves. That wasn't the past. That isn't what the past was bringing. So I think there's just going to be a little more negotiation going on, a little more of all of that, and a normalizing of the market over the next year.
But you're also thinking, a little bit of that pent up, where we had pent up demand over the past few years. Now we're thinking about a little bit of pent up supply, where home sellers are like, all right, well, we waited 2021, we've waited 2022.
Yeah.
Like it's not ideal, but it's time to go. So, and this trend line right here at the end, where we can see it peak up, we went above last year, which was July of 2022, and the previous year, which was July of 2021. You can see the line's still going up. Usually by October this time, this line's already going back down a little bit. Now, November, it'll probably flatten out a little bit, but still, nonetheless, it is a good signal for home buyers out there that this is going up, meaning you're having more homes come on the market, meaning you're having more choices out there. Prediction number 3 is prices will remain flat, relatively flat.
Let's use relative.
Yeah, because they could go up a little bit, down a little bit, but relatively flat, especially compared to the last few years. Here is the median sales price. So 2021, we had a big jump going into 2022. This time last year, July, is when we did see rates go above that 7% range. So this is when buyers kind of backed off the market last year towards the end
Big
of
time.
2022. But this year, even with higher rates, you can see we've just kind of trended sideways for a long time.
And the orange part of the graph is just coastal North County, so there's a lower number of sales, so it bounces a little more than San Diego as a whole.
Here's the San Diego as a whole. You can see it's still trended a little bit sideways. Now we're down a little bit in October, which is, once again, somewhat typical for the end of the year.
I run stuff kind of regularly to look back 30 days, 30-day increments back and forth, over a few months. And we're not seeing that significant drop off in price like we did last year. It's going to flatten. The market's going to feel flatter. And in some areas, it's going to feel down. I think some areas it'll feel up, a little bit, but it's definitely looks like we're going to see a little more flattening of the market curve, the pricing curve that we've seen the past couple of years for sure.
And part of the last few years on why we saw the huge uptick in prices is because the number of homes coming on the market was super low. So supply was super low. The number of buyers was super high. So all these buyers competing for the limited number of homes, that equals prices going pretty darn vertical like they had over the past few years. As we mentioned, if we are getting more homes come on the market, more inventory, interest rates stay relatively where they are. Maybe they're not going up any higher, but they are staying kind of, elevated from, that 3%, 4% that we have seen in the past. Means buyer demand. So the number of buyers out there is also diminished a little bit. So getting a little bit more to that equilibrium as opposed to a super heavy sellers market that we have seen in the 2021, 2022, and portions of 2023. And here's just a quick little chart showing you the national home price appreciation going back to 1990. So since 1990, there's been 314 appreciation in home prices, but this is kind of the area I wanted to show you. So since 2019, we've seen a 45.3% rise in price appreciation, where the 1 year change is 2.2%. So we're thinking relatively going to be in this range as opposed to something like this, like we have seen over the past few years. And so if you're thinking about making the move as a seller, there's a few things you could do to prepare. Two of the best things, especially with increased homes that we're expecting to come on the market and the limited or less amount of buyers as in past years. As always, preparation of your home. So getting it ready in a competitive market where it's not just flying off that first weekend, getting it super dialed in is going to be ideal. And then also your pricing strategy is going to be super important, where in the past few years, pricing is definitely always important, but not as important as it had been in the past. I think we're coming back into more normalized time where if you're overpricing your home, expect it to sit a little bit longer.
And we're talking if you want to maximize the value you get out of your house. If time or speed is the thing you want, we've got access to cash buyers too. So if somebody's looking for that, but to maximize your equity, give yourself a little more time than you think you need, and then prepare properly. Expect more negotiation in general too, that there's going to be more give and take, and they're going to ask for termite work or ask for things to be remedied if there's some issues with the house. The other good thing you could do if you really want to have your ducks in a row is have a pre-listing inspection on your home, and then you'll kind of have a punch list of, hey, here's, hey, this water heater's leaking, this is that, and you can get those things remedied before you put it on the market.
And also get yourself mentally prepared. Don't expect what we saw if your friends sold their house last year or in 2022. It's going to be a little bit different story where it might, like I said, take a little bit longer to sell. So time on the market might be a little longer. And where in the past years, every single home was getting multiple offers. We're still seeing that even right now. But don't expect don't expect your property to get multiple offers just right off the bat. I mean, it could happen. It definitely can, and it will. But just kind of get that mental preparation going too. And then as a buyer, if you're getting ready to buy in 2024, Loren, what are some of the ways that buyers can prepare out there going forward?
The first thing I would say is start early. Get your team together ahead of the time before you actually want to buy. So give yourself a little extra time. There's probably going to be more things for you to look at in this market than there has been. If you were looking 2 years ago, you could see all the houses in Encinitas for sale in your price bracket in one afternoon. And you can't necessarily do that now. So give yourself time. Make sure you have your loan options. And then one thing I would do is make sure you talk through the different potential options you might have. Probably the most important thing, and this is both buyers and sellers in my opinion, is to sit down, find those people you trust, and tell them exactly what you're trying to do. Don't pull any punches. Be honest. The relationship with your agent will work best that way. If they completely trust and understand what you're trying to do, then they can have a much better shot at finding you what you want and guiding you in a better fashion.
And so if you guys want to stay up to date and know exactly what's happening in the San Diego real estate market, be sure to subscribe. And if you're thinking about making the move in 2024, you got some questions, you want to start that conversation, all of our info is right below. We're the Beach Life Group right here in San Diego, and we got your back when making the move here in San Diego.